Welcome to EnfinityCast, the show that explores the endless stories hidden within our history. I'm your host, Elias Whitlock. Today, we're heading back to 1919 Boston to uncover a disaster that sounds almost like a joke, but was tragically real, the Great Molasses Flood. And to help me unpack this sticky piece of urban history, I'm joined by my co-host, June Halden. Welcome, June.
Thanks, Elias. It's a truly bizarre story. When you hear molasses flood, it's hard to picture the sheer destructive power we're talking about.
Exactly. So, paint the picture for us. What was happening in Boston's North End on January 15th, 1919?
Well, for a start, it was an oddly warm winter day, about 40 degrees Fahrenheit or 4 degrees Celsius. In the bustling commercial district of the North End, life was carrying on as usual. Children were playing, people were heading home for lunch, and looming over it all was a colossal steel tank, 5 stories high, on the property of the Purity Distilling Company. And this tank wasn't holding water. It was filled with 2.3 million gallons of crude molasses. That's over 12,000 tons of the stuff. Now, people might wonder why so much molasses. It was all about the war effort. World War I had just ended, but the demand was still high. Molasses was fermented to produce industrial-grade ethanol, a key component in making munitions like cordite. This tank was a vital part of that industrial pipeline.
But it was a pipeline with a fatal flaw. Shortly after noon that day, witnesses reported hearing a low rumble, then a series of sharp, metallic reports like a machine gun. And then the tank it failed. It completely ruptured. And what came out wasn't a slow ooze. It was a wave, a 25-foot-high, 160-foot-wide wall of molasses, moving at an estimated 35 miles per hour. It was a brown, viscous tsunami that crashed through the streets with immense force. The destructive power is hard to comprehend. It flattened buildings, ripped an elevated train track from its supports, and crushed wagons. It swept up people, horses, and debris, encasing them in a thick, suffocating tide. The air was filled with the roar of the wave and the screams of those caught in its path.
The human cost was horrific. In the end, 21 people were killed and another 150 were injured. Rescuers, including sailors from a nearby naval ship, rushed to the scene, but the rescue itself was a nightmare. The molasses was waist-deep in places, and as the temperature dropped, it thickened, making every step a struggle. It was like trying to move through quicksand.
And the aftermath lingered. For decades, residents claimed that on hot summer days, you could still smell the sweet, cloying scent of molasses in the North End. But beyond the smell and the immediate tragedy, this event forced a serious question. How could this have happened? That's the scholarly core of this story. The subsequent investigation and court case revealed a shocking level of corporate negligence. The tank was built in a hurry. The steel used for its walls was too thin and too brittle. The company never even performed a basic safety test, like filling it with water first. They just pumped it full of molasses and hoped for the best. And they knew there were problems, didn't they? There are reports that locals would collect molasses that leaked from the seams, and that the tank audibly groaned and shuddered whenever it was filled.
They knew. In fact, an employee told the company treasurer that he was worried, but he was told to ignore it. The company's solution to the constant leaks wasn't to fix them, but to paint the tank brown to hide the dark streaks of weeping molasses. It's a textbook case of profits over people.
But this tragedy became a catalyst for change. The victims and their families brought one of the first and largest class action lawsuits in Massachusetts against the tank's owner, U.S. Industrial Alcohol. And after years of testimony, the company was found fully liable. And that verdict had ripple effects across the country. The Great Molasses Flood helped usher in a new era of industrial regulation. It became standard practice for municipalities to require that all construction plans, especially for industrial structures, be reviewed and certified by a qualified engineer. You had to show your math. You had to prove it was safe. So, a story that starts with a bizarre, almost unbelievable event, a flood of sweetener, ends up as a landmark moment in American public safety and corporate accountability. It's a powerful reminder that behind every regulation, there is often a tragedy that made it necessary. June, thanks so much for shedding light on this incredible piece of history. My pleasure, Elias. That's all the time we have for today on EnfinityCast. Join us next time as we explore another story from our world's endless past. I'm Elias Whitlock. Thanks for listening.